Hi everybody, it's Lynn Hayes. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the astrology of the week of April 1st, starting with the fact that Mercury is now traveling direct. We have just had a period where Mercury was retrograde for about 3 weeks in the sign of Pisces. If you missed that video, you may not want to go back and look at it, but Mercury in the sign of Pisces can make everything in our life a little confusing and a little mysterious. Mercury, more than any other planet, pretty much filters through every aspect of our life. Mercury rules the mind and communication, and it also has to do with experiences that we go through that teach us something. It has to do with our inquisitiveness and our curiosity. Under the influence of Mercury, we explore new things. We learn more about ourselves. So when Mercury is in Pisces, all of those experiences are filtered through the lens of Pisces, which is very dreamy and mystical and imaginative and really longs for an experience of the divine, to just let go of the worldly shackles of practical matters and experience something that's really blissful. That's what Pisces is all about. So Pisces has a modern ruler, which is Neptune. Neptune is the planet that inspires us to have those transcendent experiences. And Mercury right now is not only in the sign of Pisces still. Mercury has turned direct, so it's moving forward, but it's going to be in Pisces for the next few weeks, or a couple of weeks. And for the next week or so, Mercury and Neptune are going to be moving pretty close together. They're traveling as a team for a few days. So that's what we call a double whammy. That's the technical term. So Mercury is in the sign of Pisces. Its modern ruler is Neptune, and Mercury is conjunct Neptune. So there's a tremendous amount of imagination now. This is a wonderful time for dreams and for creativity and for music and arts and all of these wonderful things. Not such a great time for doing things that require a lot of grounded energy, practical thought, and application. Once we get past the Mercury-Neptune conjunction around the 5th, things should get more clear. At the end of March, the planet Mars moved into Gemini. Mars is the planet of action, aggression, energy. Mars is the fire planet. And when Mars is in Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury, Mars has a tendency to sort of power through a lot of different experiences, just moves from one thing to another. When Mars is in Gemini, on the macrocosmic level, so these things happen on a microcosmic level where they interact with our own chart, but then they have a macrocosmic influence as well, where they're affecting everybody. Sort of like it's raining right now. It's raining for everybody in my neighborhood, but it's affecting my plants differently than my neighbor's plants. So it sort of is like that. So Mars will be in Gemini for a while, I believe, into early April. And while Mars is in Gemini, probably a lot of us are going to feel kind of speeded up. Gemini doesn't like to take a lot of time. Gemini's like, okay, I'll do this, and now I want to do this. So for all of us, that energy is a little bit stirred up. It's a really good time for travel. It's a good time to get a lot of things done. There's a harmonious aspect between Mars and Chiron on the 4th. It's a sextile, which is very helpful for any of us that are doing any kind of psychological work, psychotherapy, shamanic work to clear old wounds. When Mars is harmonizing with Chiron, it becomes easier. We're more motivated to clear those wounds. If things come up, we tend not to hold on to them. We're like, okay, what is this? I want to resolve it. I want to let it go. And they move out to the past. That's going to be in force pretty much all week. So it's a good thing that we can use. I want to talk a little bit about the new moon, of course, but first I want to talk about the transit of Pluto to the south node. The south node of the moon represents the past, represents what we've come from, the energies that may be holding us back, things from our past that are still lingering in our field. So when Pluto conjoins, meaning, Pluto is transiting right by the south node of the moon, that's a 19-year cycle. So the last time this happened was in 2002, and then about 9.5 years after that, Pluto aligned with the north node. So we have this 9.5 year cycle from past to the future. The north node is the direction that we're heading towards. It's the direction of our destiny. So when Pluto triggers the south node, there's an activation of something from the past to be released. So this is a time when you could experience, and this is going to last for the next few weeks, and Saturn is also tied in with it because Saturn and Pluto are pretty close. So Saturn and Pluto are both have joined up with the south node, and you may find things from the past sort of just rising up, being triggered. They might be emotions, they might be situations, they might be people, old relationships that you thought you left behind, but they're emerging because they're not done. There's something that's not done. So don't be surprised. This is an opportunity to complete those cycles, to complete those passages so that you can then keep moving forward. It's not as big of a deal as some people are making it out to be, in my opinion. These things are just triggers. They're not going to trigger major crises, I do not believe. Then we have the new moon. So after all of this, we have this new moon in Aries, which is very powerful. It's kind of explosive. Aries is ruled by Mars. It's this energy of action and initiation, not really thinking about things, not really debating, should I do it or should I not do it? We just take action. We just do it. We feel enthusiastic. We feel energized. We feel positive and ready to go. So you'll probably start feeling it a couple of days before the 5th, the 3rd, the 4th. The moon is squared by Saturn, which is Saturn squares, challenging aspects are sometimes unhelpful. But when you're talking about Aries, the Saturn helps to ground and to give more of a sense of practicality. So it will help us to think things through a little more carefully. But this is a wonderful time to begin something new. In the northern hemisphere, it's spring. The new moon in Aries, it's sort of that fresh new beginning, like we talked about with the spring equinox. So, write down the things that you want to get started, because this week there's this energy of letting go of the past, and then the Aries new moon helps it to propel us into the future. So I hope you have a great week. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll look forward to talking next week. Thanks so much.